Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is another on-the-fly review. This time, finally, for the Ahsoka series finale. Um, what a roller coaster of a show, and I'm not meaning in terms of yay, I'm on a roller coaster. I'm talking in terms of up and downs, and this finale is no different. Um, Obviously, spoilers, but obviously Thrawn wins. It was never going to be any other outcome. We knew that anyway. We knew that anyway because you have to have some sort of end game for all of this, and where it's going. I guess we don't really know, do we? But this show, this episode in particular, again, same thing as the last couple of episodes. It's straight into the action. There's no holding back. It's straight in plot. Pretty much goes out the window. And to everybody's jangling, clapping joy, we got zombies in this episode. So the theory about the stormtroopers being zombies was partly true, in that the witches of Dathomir sort of bloody hell, reanimate stormtroopers that get felled by the trio of Jedi. So they all charge, Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine. They charge towards Thrawn to stop him from making good and making his escape. Obviously, they're not going to do that because why would they have him fail? So they charge there as quickly as they can. The Star Destroyer tries to blast them from the ground and makes the Star Destroyer look completely stupid in that not a single one of these absolute behemoth laser bolts does anything to anyone. They're all perfectly fine. They make their way through, no problem at all. They get inside the Citadel, and Morgan Elsbeth, during this point, gets promoted. She becomes a full Witch of Dathomir. She's given a lovely sword, which name escapes me, but we've seen the sword before in the Clone Wars, as it's sort of Talon or something like that. And basically, it's yet another lightsaber deflecting weapon, just like the spear, just like Beskar armor. Lightsabers are pretty pointless at this point, aren't they? They don't do anything. They don't do anything. They don't cut limbs off. They don't kill people if they get stabbed. But hold your horses. So Morgan Elsbeth is promoted, and she sort of alongside a platoon of stormtroopers are sacrificed on the altar of Thrawn. Thrawn sends the stormtroopers, they get reanimated, and Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine can't beat them. They don't know how to beat them. Even though a couple of stormtroopers get their heads cut off, and it's quite obvious though they're now dead, they still don't know how to beat them. The typical cliched zombie thing. You always have to have this thing where they just take forever to figure out how to kill them. You see it multiple times in this fight sequence. Some of the zombie stormtroopers being beheaded or being deflected shots in the head, and then they don't get back up again. Come on, bit of common sense, people. Don't piss on my parade and tell me it's raining. These characters should be more self-aware and able to figure it out, but I digress. And eventually they get separated. So Sabine and Ezra chase the full speed, the Jedi speed, towards the Star Destroyer that is making off into the sky. It's lovely. It's wonderful. It's the slowest takeoff you've ever seen in your life. And yes, they get Ahsoka gets cornered. She's cornered by Morgan Elsbeth. Thrawn's fucked off. He doesn't really do anything apart from make these commands, but he is extremely menacing. He still has that malevolence, that menacing malevolence, which I do like. And yes, Ahsoka is surrounded by stormtroopers and Morgan Elsbeth. Sabine helps Ezra get on board. She discovers her force powers, and it's magical. She's able to do everything immediately. Oh, there we go. There goes the camera. And she force pushes Ezra onto onto the ship. I'm being a bit facetious there. She still doesn't trust her powers fully. He basically says, "Come on, you have to do it. You have to push me on the ship." So he does a Jedi leap. She force pushes him the rest of the way, and up he goes. He's on Thrawn's Star Destroyer, and rather than join him, Sabine turns around and goes to help Ahsoka. So Star Destroyer fucks off into the atmosphere. Ahsoka's fighting Morgan Elsbeth with the lightsaber deflecting weapon yet again, and she is felled. Morgan Elsbeth is finally killed off. Thank fuck for that. A nothing burger character who in this episode is promoted for all of 5 minutes just to be killed off. Superb. Absolutely superb. It's about time. It's 7 episodes too long that she's been allowed to stay alive. And yes, but she is killed, funnily enough, by a cut across the belly. So Sabine was stabbed through the stomach, the lightsaber cooking all those internal organs, and perfectly survived. No issues, no long-term ramifications at all. And Morgan Elsbeth is sliced across the stomach and dies like that. Brilliant. Superb consistency at its best. I love it. It's about as consistent as a lumpy bit of custard. Marvelous. And lo and behold, the zombie stormtroopers are still coming. You do get some zombie death troopers as well. More visuals for you. I mean, the point of the zombie stormtroopers, I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be the major foil of Thrawn's weaponry against the New Republic. But are they immediately overpowered for this universe? I don't know. What's the ramifications of this? It's all about bringing back the dead and everything. Leading into Palpatine. I'm guessing. Who knows? The plot really doesn't tell you much more about anything, or the rhymes or reasons for anything. Ahsoka and Sabine get in their shuttle, which has been repaired by Hayang. It got destroyed, got damaged, and immediately they go after Thrawn in the Star Destroyer. And he sends a nice, lovely voice note over the intercom, basically giving Ahsoka some shit, and then he fucks off back to outer space, leaving Ahsoka, Sabine, Hayang completely stranded in this other galaxy. And yes, Ezra somehow manages to stay on board this Star Destroyer for a long period of time, however long it is, and then he returns to the New Republic, arriving on a shuttle. There's a wonderful callback to the very first episode when, yet again, they allow an Imperial shuttle to dock with a fucking Alliance cruiser. But this time they're prepared. They've got weapons up and everything, and Ezra comes out wearing the helmet. Motherfucker, take the helmet off so people know that you don't mean any harm. Does that not make sense? Because it's yet another thing to, give us that false bit of enjoyment. Oh, he's taking the helmet off because obviously Hera's there, and Hera sees this stormtrooper walking out with a helmet, and she's immediately like, "Oh God, it's another stormtrooper," and he takes the helmet off, and there's supposed to be a beautiful moment when she goes, "Oh, Ezra, you could have had the exact same fucking moment if he came off without the helmet on, because A, he's got a beard, B, he's fucking older, and C, you've not seen him in fucking years. You could have had the exact same moment. Instead, it's false tension. Absolutely false tension to have him come off the shuttle wearing a stormtrooper helmet. It's not like A New Hope when they haven't met before, and he walks into the room and she goes, little short for a stormtrooper, and he goes, "Oh, the uniform," takes his helmet off. It's not the same fucking thing. I've seen somebody compare it to that. You're fucking wrong. You're a moron. But yes, there's supposed to be wonderful more clapping, enjoying the back together kind of thing. Just completely false. Completely undeserved praise. We cut back to this world where Ahsoka and Sabine are trapped. They've shacked up with the turtle people. Their sort of little proto army. Ahsoka and Sabine have a moment. I wasn't really listening, to tell you the truth. And the final shot is Anakin overlooking Ahsoka in that sort of, very similar vein to what we saw in the Clone Wars and in you know, specifically the Clone Wars, and also with Return of the Jedi when Luke's walking away, having noticed the three Force ghosts there. So it's supposed to be a nice, lovely thing of like, we'll always be with you kind of thing. But yeah, again, rank hollow. And that's unfortunately the overriding sense that I get from this series. It's a bit hollow. It's a bit shallow. There's a lot going on, and yet there's not much going on. The final couple of shots in this episode, sort of like the after credits bonus things, we see Shin Hati return to the fake sand troopers, the fake sand people in their red outfits, they completely stand out in the open wearing red. Well done. And obviously she's going to recruit them. She activates her lightsaber, sort of like a Braveheart kind of thing. That's all we see of her. And then we see Balin's skull stood on top, the massive statue, akin to Lord of the Rings. Huge statue, and it is the father. And they are obviously, it's in reference to the three pillars of, the old Force. Again, the names escape me. I do know what they are. I'm not just chatting shit. I do know what they are, but it's the father, the son, and then the daughter as well. But the daughter statue is completely destroyed. So it's indicating, on the nose, that the Force is unbalanced on this planet in some way. They're supposed to be like the balance in the Force. We see them again in the Clone Wars. This sort of, the connection to the Force and what they mean. Again, this, like I said, it's hollow and it's shallow. It's banking on you having expert fucking knowledge of Clone Wars and Rebels, which I get. It's supposed to be some form of a sequel. I get it, but when you're trying to connect everything together in the hopes of pursuing a film later on, it's the same problem we had with Book of Boba Fett. People didn't watch it, and then they had no idea why fucking Grogu and Din Djarin were back together. It's the same thing here. If you haven't seen Rebels, you haven't seen Clone Wars, there are going to be moments in this where you don't have a fucking clue. Which is a shame if the show is trying to elicit some emotional response. I've seen them, and I didn't have the emotional responses that a lot of people are having, whether it's true or not, their reactions. I don't care. I didn't have those emotional resonating moments. And how can it be easy for those that don't watch it to have that sort of reaction? It's the same. It's the problem. It's the Marvel problem. They're releasing multiple things that are all interconnected, all designed to go somewhere, all connected to past events and whatever, and yet people aren't watching everything. But it's demanding that you do. And I've been saying for the last couple of years that is a massive fucking problem. It is a massive problem. I don't have time to watch everything. I don't want to watch everything because some things don't hit me right. So, the visuals have been spectacular in this series. Of course they have. But it's all been, for me, it's all been key jangling. It's all been cameos and references and oh, look at this. This is what you remember, isn't it? There's no harm in doing that, but not at the expense of writing and story. And I do feel the writing and the story in this hasn't been interesting or deep in any way, shape or form. It's all been very surface. Everything's just on the surface. The lack of actual character emotion, as opposed to the key jangling reference emotion, has been completely fucking missing for me. It's been absolutely missing. Anakin's lesson to Ahsoka meant nothing to me because I didn't see any active development other than she now wears white. So we had Gandalf's journey without actually having any fucking shred of even the closeness to the sacrifices that a character like Gandalf made. It's all surface. It's all referencing something else. It's all trying to be something else without being deep and meaningful within itself. And that's been the entire series. The choreography has been up and down. The editing's been up and down. In this final episode, we get a wide shot of lightsaber action between Morgan Elsbeth and Ahsoka, and it looks fucking good. But throughout the entirety of the season, we've had different styles of editing and camera shots showing duels. No fucking consistency. Where's the consistency? Where's the continuity in terms of how these episodes are being edited and shot and choreographed? Why do some of them look utterly awful, and in this one, it's free flowing combat? But again, we leave that too early. We cut to something else that's less interesting, which this show has done countless times. We've been in the midst of something that is getting interesting, and I'm referring here to Bale and Skull. We're getting something really interesting, and then we fucking jimmy off to Sabine, not telling anybody about anything that's happening. At this point, I think Ezra just fucking uses the Force to understand what's happening, because again, we don't have that fucking conversation that we should have had. And now it's pointless because everybody's where they're supposed to be. And that's the point. This series has been constantly people being put in positions and places that they need to be so that the story can get on with it. So the show can get on with it. But the scripting, the structure has not been there to justify what's been going on. So a disappointing series. Like I said, it's been up and down. There've been some episodes which I've really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed Bale and Skull. Thrawn has, to be fair, Thrawn has saved the back end of this series, I think. Because fuck me, if they were going to leave Thrawn to the very last episode and focus on Morgan Elsbeth or something like that, trying to locate Thrawn, that would have been a fucking disaster. But when he appeared, everything got better. Obviously, like I said, the mysteriousness about Bale and Skull's journey here is, for me, is more interesting than the rest of the fucking show. I don't care about zombie stormtroopers. They mean nothing to me. I stopped watching The Walking Dead because it's just the same thing over and over again. And if we get that in a series 2, God, or we get it in one of the spin-off shows, or in this supposed movie that's coming out, where it's just zombie stormtroopers versus the Republic, bore off. No, it's not interesting at all, because it'll just be the same thing we've seen in countless fucking zombie movies for all time. But they have set a precedent here where they're going to have fucking zombie stormtroopers because everyone fucking loved them. So yeah, there you go. I am firmly in the middle on this one. It's a 3-star show. It's a for me, it's a 6 out of 10 show. It's okay in places. It's rubbish in others. It's bang average, to say the least. And unfortunately, unless they've got some cutting, cuttings on the floor, it's the last we'll see is Ray Stevenson as Bale and Skull. Obviously, I anticipated his character would be killed off and that he'd be one and done, but he isn't. He's enduring. So whether they opt to take that any further using footage they've already shot, I doubt it. Or whether they recast, or whether they just leave that story there and leave it ambiguous. We'll have to see. But even Shin Hati, I speculated with Mike of Genuine Chit Chat that Shin Hati would become the leading light in Thrawn, the leading Sith for Thrawn's army. That's what Mike suggested, and it sounded pretty good. But even she's been left behind. You get the sense that Thrawn doesn't trust Force wielders in any way, shape, or form, and it makes sense. Especially if they are doing Heir to the Empire. But I'm going to stop waffling, and I'm going to leave it there. God, what's next? Don't know. Not really sure I care at this point in time either. But there you go. We'll see. Whatever comes next, whether I care or not, I'm going to be watching it, aren't I? Because I love Star Wars. It is what it is. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed these reviews, sorry they have been on the fly sometimes and up and down. It's like this show, like Ahsoka. If you enjoyed this review and you enjoy these kind of reviews, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. What has this show done for you? Are you excited when the keys get jangled in front of your eyes and Anakin references Sarge Ventress? Or like me, are you craving something with a bit more depth and emotion, which we have had in Star Wars? You know, very recently as well. People say, "Oh well, old Star Wars, you know, you have to move on." Motherfucker, had Andor had all the emotion, more emotion than the original trilogy, more emotion and depth than the fucking prequels. Go fuck yourself. It can be done in a modern setting with Star Wars because Andor did it. So there you go. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going off on a tangent, so I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.